dialogue. Today is all about dialogue, and quite frankly, I do not know what to say to you guys because this is something I'm finding that I'm struggling with more and more. Because the thing with dialogue is you want it to sound as authentic as possible. You don't want to read a story and think, who the heck speaks like this? Or this is not flowing correctly. You don't want that. And it's so hard to nail that. It's so hard to get it right. Now, the one thing I can tell you in terms of writing dialogue, said is not dead. I know we were taught said is dead. Stop saying said. Stop saying say. And while there are some points to that, there is some validity to that because reading a book and every other piece of dialogue you're seeing, and he said this and she said that and they said that, that will get tiring. It gets really boring, and just that alone makes it sound unreal. Even though when you're speaking to someone in real life, it's not like they're telling you, I'm saying that's not it. But I think it's better to say something like, said is not dead, said just set some boundaries and would like for us to respect it. Because when people have that thought, that mindset of said is dead, what happens is you read a book and every other piece of dialogue is the most chaotic amalgamation of just synonyms for say. And that is not what we want to see at all, because at that point you once again end up with a book that seems like it's overly descriptive, or it seems like the writer is just a bit out of touch. Because once again, who sounds like this? This story does not flow at all. I don't think we should be saying said is dead. I think we should just be saying said set some boundaries. So in some instances, the best word to use to describe someone saying something is said, is say. It is the best word. But in some circumstances, you really can do better. For example, if it's a case of someone is thinking on something, if you're writing your story and then you've been saying said, and then you once again turn around and say, she said this to herself in her head or something like that. It'd be easier to turn around and say, she mused on this, she pondered on this, depending on which word is better. Some instances do not use said, but in others, definitely stick to the basics, stick to simple. Simple is not always wrong. Believe me, this is from someone who definitely at one point just opened up a thesaurus and found every synonym she could find and then ended up making a mess of her story. Said is not dead. It just has boundaries that should be respected. Now, that aside, another piece of advice or tip that I guess I would give to someone working on their dialogue or struggling with their dialogue, find a book that you love or a book that is similar to the book that you're trying to write, to the story that you're trying to write. Find the dialogue, mimic it as much as possible. Just mimic it. Even if it's just for practice, look at how they make their characters speak to one another. Look at how the conversation flows. Because at one point, I think that's what really had me in just a rut, figuring out how to make the conversation flow. I think what I really struggled with was not making every line a case of, and then she said that, and then he said that, and then she said that, and then she said that, he spoke that. It seemed so like it didn't flow at all. And then I just opened one of my favorite books just to say, this is not how I remember reading a book. This is not how they sound. And I opened it, and the way that they made it flow made so much sense. If it's just a conversation between two people, you don't constantly have to be repeating the words of John then said, Sarah then said, okay, and then Sarah then said again. Like, it's just two people. Just have the dialogue going and going and going, unless a third person inserts himself or unless the flow requires more input in terms of their intonation, their expression, something along those lines. But honestly, just open up a book. Open up one of your favorite books, one of the books that you're taking inspiration from, and see how they make their conversation flow. and then use that as a starting point. Don't mimic completely. More so use it as a base, as a guideline for how you can make your conversation flow just as well. But really, I do not have that many tips. Like I said, it's one of the areas in writing that I struggle with, the dialogues, because I'm just like, I don't know how to make this sound correct. I'm trying my best. I'm very much trying my best, because I've spoken about how I have several characters, and obviously they all have distinct personalities, and I have to represent those personalities in their voice. And so the phrases that they're saying, the way that they speak, it's very, very important to capture the essence of that personality through their dialogue. And that is also very, very difficult. Oh my goodness, dialogue is terrible. And the thing is, you have great dialogue, but you just don't let it flow properly, or you just can't find a way to make it flow properly. And I feel like I'm getting stuck there a lot, because there are some scenes where it's straight dialogue and a bit of action, of course, but mainly dialogue. And I'm just like, the words sound great. They convey what's going on in a very, at least I would say, clever way. But going from one character to another, to another, to another, and then back to that first character, and then to the third character, and just shifting back and forth, doing that in a way that is beautiful and doesn't make you cringe is super, super difficult. And I'm so stuck, but I'm not giving up. I'm doing well, and I hope I can get to the end. But yeah, guys, what are your tips for writing dialogue? What else do you got for me and for everyone else? I want to hear it. Me, personally, I want to hear it, because I'm still struggling. But I will say today I made more progress with writing, and I had like an epiphany in terms of how the story actually should be going. And I'm just like, thank goodness, because really I was writing scenes and scenes and scenes, but I was like, who knows where this is going to go. But now I think I have it locked in place. It's just the dialogue, because my story has a lot of dialogue, as you might imagine, because I have so many characters. We have to interact, we have to speak. That's where a lot of the fun is. I love witty banter in books, or I just love conversations that give you more insight to who people are, or the relationship between people. So I need the dialogue. I can't just have a book without it. So I need to not only have it, but I need to master it. I need to execute it great. Well, I need to execute it well. I don't know what that was. Yeah, I'm working really hard on doing just that. But yeah, that's the dealio for today. I'm really happy that we're hitting the weekend, because hopefully I can get more done without having my 9 to 5 stressing me out. The only thing is, I do have to take out my hair. I've had it for ages. I'm a bit stuck on that, because I do not want to come here tomorrow evening and I look like a troll. And this is going to take a while to take out, and then all the care that goes with it. I'm really scared about how I'm going to get everything done tomorrow, because I do still have to focus on writing. It's going to be an interesting day, but we will get it done. And I will see you guys then. Until next time. Bye.